12 o'clock, time to reach for mobile water. Mobile water, unique in every way.
30 years of joyfulness. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM, Hits 103.9 FM here in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We're live in all 16 regions via Volta Premier in Ho, Radio Max in Takrady, Lonlonyo FM in Hohoi. We're live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol So Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, as key stakeholders in the education sector convene to discuss much needed reforms, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Christian Council, and opposition NPP claim they have been excluded from the forum, raising concerns about inclusivity in the deliberations.
This is a big oversight, because you cannot take out the faith-based groups from education.
No, I haven't received any invitation to the forum. I'm sure it will be too late to extend any invitation at this point. We do not need National Education Forum.
But organizers say they have specific plans for each group.
The Catholic Bishops, Christian Council of Ghana, Presbyterian, and all the other faith-based organizations have been part of the stakeholder list already.
Well, the forum is underway in the Volta regional capital, Ho. I'll take you live there. Also this afternoon on education, pupils of Sambonjida DA Basic School paying the price for teacher shortage as untrained volunteers step in, but the results are disastrous.
There's an alphabet missing.
K, N.
L. So where's L? L is not there. So write the L there.
But unfortunately, the situation spreads beyond Sambonjida.
There were 5,000 primary school classrooms that do not have teachers across the country. And majority of this were located in the 5 northern regions, in Western North and Unity. The West Form is where there is no teacher at all in the classroom.
We put a spotlight on this situation in crumbling start coming up shortly. Also this afternoon, declare your assets by 31st March 2025 or face dire consequences, including removal from office. Words of President Mahama to public service holders and government appointees as he declares his assets today.
I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office.
We have details of that. Also, Northeast Regional Minister narrowly escapes death after his vehicle comes under attack while attempting to de-escalate violent clashes in Wale Wale. Tragically, his brother was killed in the incident.
The situation is now out of hand. I was attacked at the Chief's Palace. My vehicle was vandalized. I was under hostage for more than 2 hours. It was combined military and then police that came and rescued me. I'm also briefing because that is my brother who died.
We are the very latest as the Regional Security Council is on a hunt for the perpetrators. Their sports.
Former Galka chairman Yao Apia opposes Keto Kreku's potential bid for a third term as GFA president.
That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Let's start off on the education front. And key stakeholders in the education sector convene to discuss much needed reforms. The Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Christian Council and the opposition NPP claim they have been excluded from the forum, raising concerns about inclusivity in these deliberations. In a statement, the two influential religious bodies describe the omission as a significant setback to inclusive and participatory discussions on Ghana's educational future. The opposition New Patriotic Party also say they've been left out of the deliberations. A former Deputy Education Minister, Reverend John Intimfojo, says they are yet to be extended an invitation.
No, I haven't received any invitation to the forum. I'm sure it will be too late to extend any invitation at this point. I must say that we do not need National Education Forum to be able to set a vision for President Mahama, because as a president having ample time to campaign, having set out the team to draft your manifesto, it is supposed that within that period your vision is cut out. You make specific promises to voters on how you're going to handle the education sector. So what is expected upon assuming office is for you to translate those manifesto promises into actionable policies. What the population, what the people of Ghana are expecting is that the programs that you set out in your manifesto, bring it out and start implementing it. They want to see how that finds expression in the first budget statement that is going to be presented. The specific promises of free SHS that they promised they were going to continue and even extend to cover private schools. That is what they're expecting you to kickstart running. And they want to see how you're going to pay the first year fees for tertiary students in public tertiary institutions. They expect to see you continue infrastructure promises. They expect to see you counsel double track system, for instance, and all these specific promises.
That's a former Deputy Education Minister, Reverend John in Tim Fojo. We'll get to hear from the organizing committee. They say they have specific plans for specific sectors. But my colleague and Presidential Affairs correspondent, Maxwell Apawu, joins us live from the Volta Regional Capital Hall, where that forum is currently underway. Let's talk about this controversy on invitations. Who and who are there? I know you've been interacting with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, amongst others. Tell us more.
Yes, Emefa. So all the people who matter in Ghana's education space are here. Key amongst them here are students, parents, teachers, researchers, civil society organizations, development partners, religious bodies, Ghanaian educational researchers in the diaspora, heads of educational institutions, amongst many others. But like you mentioned, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference and the Christian Council of Ghana had raised concerns about being excluded from the list of invitees for the forum. Now, my sources here I've been speaking to says a lot of faith-based organizations were invited, and was believed at the time that this invitation would have covered them until this objection was raised by the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference and the Christian Council. I've been speaking to the Vice President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference and the Catholic Bishop of Hope, Most Reverend Emmanuel Kofi. He says the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference and the Christian Council were invited this morning, and an apology was rendered for the oversight.
I think because we made noise, we were heard. So I was invited this morning to come. And since I'm in Hope, I'm here.
Okay. So the invitation came this morning after you raised the concern?
Verbal one, yes, after we raised the concern.
I'm sure it was an oversight possibly. What explanation I was given?
We will take it so that it was an oversight, but this is a big oversight. Because you cannot take out the faith-based groups from education. So it was an unfortunate oversight.
But we've also heard
already
that
Professor Odro has apologized, the minister has apologized, so it's okay.
But I've heard some explanations elsewhere that other faith-based organizations under which the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, falls were actually invited.
No, we don't fall under any other body. The Catholic Bishops Conference is autonomous. Okay. We don't fall under any other organization. Yes.
Well, it does appear that that issue has been resolved. But let's talk about the key issues on the table for discussion as we speak.
Well, so key among the issues to be discussed, the forum has been put to 5 key thematic areas. One, infrastructure, quality education financing, research and data, regulation, accountability, and governance. So these are key thematic areas that the participants will focus on.
Well, that's Maxwell Apawu. Unfortunately, we have a terrible connection to him. We'll try and rectify that. But he's been speaking to a committee member, Professor Ewuku, on memos they've received so far.
So far, we've received about 1,501 exactly. Just before I came talking to you, with responses across the country and also from the diaspora.
What are some of the key issues that stand out from what the people have said?
Let me see. I can talk about 10, but I'm not sure my brain will take me that far. So I know free SHS is number 1 on the list, and that they are talking about quality. What does it actually mean? I think one of the papers say we should rethink what we mean by quality education in Ghana. And then there's a talk about teacher autonomy of schools, school leaders, governing councils, and school boards. And then there's a talk about food feeding in the senior high schools.
Well, we've been talking about that omission in terms of invitations. We've heard from the NPP, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Christian Council, and some others. Well, we've been hearing from a member of the organizing committee, Kofi Asare, is blaming the lack of invitations to somebody's on a communication error. He told the host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Yankson, that the program has different segments for different groupings.
We are scheduled to have a separate engagement for all faith-based organizations. That is because the FBOs established about 40% of public educational institutions. And so their number is huge, cut across faith. And so the strategy is to have separate engagement for FBOs, okay, at the national level. The second strategy is that during the zonal level of engagement, we invite FBOs at the regional level to participate. So as we are here, I have said earlier, and I'll repeat that the Catholic Bishop, for instance, will be participating at today's program.
Well, let's stay a while longer on education. This time, the shortage of professional teachers at Sabonjida DA Basic School in the Tatale Sanguli district of the Northern Region has left pupils at a dire disadvantage, with only 2 teachers handling kindergarten 1 to basic 6 and trained volunteers stepping to fill the gap. But the results are deeply worrying. Lessons are falling short and pupils are unknowingly repeating critical errors that could haunt them for years to come. Here are excerpts from Joy News' latest series, Crumbling Start, produced by Emmanuel Juveno in partnership with School for Life.
For pupils of Sabonjida DA Basic School, having a teacher is a privilege.
This man here.
2 trained teachers shoulder the responsibility of educating pupils from kindergarten to basic 6. Volunteers like Thomas, a senior high school graduate, step in to assist, but the results are troubling.
So I'm coming here to teaching ABCD, A, B, C, D.
Thomas tries his best, but his grasp of the English language and teaching methodology raises concerns. In one instance, L was missing from the blackboard. Worse still, pupils are thought to pronounce M and N the same way, and these children repeat these errors with confidence.
K, N, N.
This is heartbreaking. These children are set up to fail before they even begin. I could not stand by and watch the blunder persist, so I intervened.
There's an alphabet missing.
J, K, N.
L. So where's L? L is not there. So write the L there. Okay, so this is how to write the L.
The situation grows grimmer.
Yeah, you get it.
I get it.
The school has only 3 classrooms, forcing 2 different classes to share a single space.
I'm Francis N. Gangam, the head of Sabonjida DA Primary. It's a burden, very difficult for a teacher to be inside one class with 2 classes combined.
For pupils in kindergarten, their classroom is nothing more than a furnished area with blocks intended for construction, now serving as furniture.
The MP, the last election campaign time, that he came and molded the blocks there that he wanted to build a classroom. After winning, he didn't come back again.
The community is trying to keep the school afloat. Parents pay volunteers like Thomas in kind, working on their farm as laborers. The head teacher and community leaders are calling on the government to act.
Our people in Sabonjida are crying. We are looking for the government to come to our aid.
For these children, the dream of a brighter tomorrow seems distant. It is a call to action for policymakers to prioritize schools like this before it's too late. Emmanuel Juvenu, Joy News, Tatale Sangoli, Northern Region.
Now, Scrambling Start, produced by Emmanuel Jivenu in partnership with School for Life, available on all our social media platforms. Already, we've been hearing from the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu. He's assured Ghanaians of the government's commitment to improving infrastructure in public schools.
We have an infrastructure deficit of about 5,000 schools still under trees. There will be massive investment in education infrastructure. The first part of it will be unveiled in the 2025 budget statement by the Honorable Minister for Finance. We'll work to close the gap. There is national poverty in terms of the foundational literacy between urban rural schools and private public schools. We will invest to correct it.
That's Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. Now on to some other stories. Declare your assets by 31st March 2025 or face dire consequences, including removal from office. These are words of President John Dramani Mahama to public service holders and government appointees as he declares his assets today. Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution mandates all public office holders to submit a written declaration of their assets, liabilities and property to the Auditor General within 3 months of assuming office. While in compliance with this constitutional requirement, President Mahama today fully declared his assets at the Jubilee House. He emphasized that corruption can be fought if asset declaration is enforced.
In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. I've taken this step of presenting these forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of assets declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Corruption by nature is insidious and thrives under the cover of darkness. The more light that is shown on it, the more likely that it will be fought successfully. I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders, especially those that I have appointed, that I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office.
Well, the president also stressed the importance of leverage in the ongoing review of the 1992 Constitution to reform the current asset declaration process, ensuring it remains effective and relevant.
Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth, obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption, can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we can defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption.
Well, we've been hearing from the Auditor General himself, Johnson Ekuyamoesiedu. He says he will take a look at the document and assured that it will be scrutinized.
We are going to open it to see His Excellency has done. You don't seal it. We are going to open it to see exactly what entries you have made. But when we are looking at it, what we are looking at is whether you have not left any blank spaces, whether you have not left your bank balances. Some may list all the banks that they have, but there will be no balances at it, and we will call you to come and redo it. That's the extent to which we do this. If you say you have 10 bank accounts and you bring it to us, how are we to be sure that indeed it is only 10 bank accounts that you have? If you say you have 2 buildings, what can we do to ensure that it is exactly the two buildings that you have? So reviewing the constitution, as His Excellency has said, I think it's a very, very important issue that we have to take seriously. And we also support the publishing. If you submit your assets and declaration forms, we should be able to publish it freely. And the time that you are leaving office too, we will publish it to see the changes that have happened ever since.
That's the Auditor General, Johnson Ekwuamwa Esiedu. Now, let me take you to the Ashanti region for a quick update on yesterday's Council of State rerun of the elections there. Well, we know that the police arrested some 7 persons. We've been told that 4 of these persons who were arrested have been granted bail. The suspects were picked up for breaching security protocols at the venue of the polls. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NDC, Augustus Nanakwesi Andrews, says the 4 arrested were released after the election. Nanaya Ojima has a wrap of the election rerun.
The former Ashanti Regional NDC Chairman, Yao Osu Obimpe, polled 49 votes against Nana Nkansa Boadu Ayeboafo's 35 votes. Daniel Anefi Yamwa came third with 1 vote, as 1 delegate failed to show up for the election. NDC Chairman Augustus Andrews Nanakwesi spoke for the victor.
My branch executives, my constituency executives, my party followers were crying that if we don't win these elections, that's the end of NDC.
Nanaya Ojima, give us updates on the release of these suspects. What about the others?
So the information we have is that these people were cautioned by the police and released. It's unclear if there are any more suspects in police custody.
Well, that's my colleague Nanaya Ojima giving us updates on that situation. It's a good time to take a quick breather here on the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, Hits 103.9 FM, also in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com, live in all 16 regions on X Spaces on Facebook. The Midday News is proudly supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. We've been talking about that stakeholder engagement on education sector review, and we've been hearing about the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Christian Council and the opposition NPP claiming they were excluded from the forum, raising concerns about inclusivity in the deliberations, but organizers have admitted to the error and say they have specific plans for each group. When we return from the break, I'll bring you sports, and then the Northeast Regional Minister narrowly escapes death after his vehicle comes under attack while attempting to de-escalate violent clashes in Wale Wale. Tragically, his brother was killed in the incident.
The situation is now out of hand. I was attacked at the Chief's Palace. My vehicle was vandalized. I was under hostage for more than 2 hours. It was combined military and then police that came and rescued me. I'm also grieving because that is my brother who died.
Where did I? Now I don't know many just are. Obiang, what to chrome her? And to want to say Petrol Soul energizing dreams for motion. Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
Hey, dear New sir. Stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You hear my tina watch. New yarn it's now watch. No be a baby some was some demoni in our say. Dear New say. For quiet, yes, in Biara Association Ontario. Use stay soft and New yarn it's now watch. Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. A year near say, sir. Choose to stay soft. No who's so say, no. FDID a dreading crack to yatu.
Thanks for staying with us. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's time for sports. Mubarak.
Yes, Emefa, let's do some breaking news where the Ghana Football Association has charged bankroller of Elmina Sharks Papa Kwesi Indom. In a statement released by the FA, he is alleged to have interfered with the progress of a match by entering the inner perimeter and the field of play without authorization to protest a penalty decision. He is also alleged to have incited players, officials and fans of Elmina Sharks against match officials. Papa Kwesi Indom has until tomorrow to respond to the charges. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Mubarak, with the latest from the world of sports. Now, the Northeast Regional Minister Ibrahim Tia has recounted a harrowing ordeal in which he was attacked and his vehicle vandalized by angry mob at the Wale Wale Chief's Palace. All his comments come in the wake of violent incidents in Wale Wale that resulted in the death of about 7, with others injured after a bus was attacked and bent. The attack, according to him, happened at the Wale Wale Chief's Palace while briefing the traditional authority on the deteriorating situation. We know that a curfew has been imposed with residents resisting it. He tells my colleague Elton Brobe it took the security personnel over 2 hours to rescue him, but his brother was killed in the process.
The situation is now out of hand. We tried, but this is where we've gotten to. But let us still see how we can manage the curfew period and comply with it, and we'll get back and plead subsequently for its review. I was attacked at the Chief's Palace. My vehicle was vandalized.
But
I don't know whether you see the pictures.
By residents massed up at the Chief Palace?
Precisely so.
And your crime was what?
So they vandalized my vehicle. I was under hostage for more than 2 hours. It was combined military and then police that came and rescued me, and I left.
So in all of this,
so subsequently after that, I heard that when one died as a result of a stray bullet or whatever was it, that was it. That there was a stray bullet when they were firing to scare the people so that they could rescue those of us who were trapped at the palace. A brother, unfortunately, I'm also briefing because that is my brother who died.
Your own brother?
Yes, we are related. So that is the state of the issue.
Then the situation is far from normal. It is a very tense situation you have at Wale Wale.
Precisely so. Let us ensure that relative peace and calm remains in the community. We will see how we can address the issue. The curfew, I will plead with the Minister of Interior to see how it can be reviewed or even completely taken.
But I'm curious to know, do we know who are the individuals behind this burning of vehicles here and there?
If we had known, we would have arrested them. Because we don't know, that is why we are engaging the communities. So that they will also pick information and inform those culprits who are involved. Get them, either they stop or they give us information leading to their arrest.
The people are saying that, I mean, when they look at their town, they don't see any conflicts. And that is their main concern, why they should suffer for what appears to be something they have no hand in.
Well, that is one fact. The bars that they bent, where was it bent?
Is it enough to say that as chairman of the Regional Security Council, you do not know the group behind this? And how are we working to ensure that we are ahead of the criminals and arrest them?
That is why we are engaging the communities and we are seeking information from them.
That's the Northeast Regional Minister Ibrahim Tia speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe on the pulse as we speak. The Regional Security Council have declared a hand for these perpetrators. And just before we head out, let me take you to Esubuaso, where residents in the Central District of Ashanti Region are protesting the activities of nomadic herdsmen in the community, which has since destroyed vast farmlands. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more.
Residents of Esubuaso took to the streets of the community clad in red headgears and armbands, holding placards to vent their displeasure at the rampant destructions of their farmlands by herders. The community is known to be one of the food baskets in Central, producing various foodstuff like cassava, plantains and other crops. But the farmers must contend with the transhumance, which is derailing their efforts to produce enough to feed themselves and make an earning. The aggrieved residents recount their ordeal with the nomadic herdsmen. The nomadic herdsmen have laid siege on our farms and community, When they meet you, they will signal their animals to attack you. Until they realize you are nearing your death, that's when they will signal them to stop hunting you.
That's Emmanuel Bright Kweku's report, and let's bring in. It's time for MNJ, MNS, MNL, JNL, JNS. What's up? What are people talking about?
Well, we've a lot, but we'll start with Crumbling Start, our latest documentary, which is trending on social media. You know, the part where the young volunteer missed the word L. People have actually been, people have been sharing their thoughts on that on social media. So Royal Nuhu says that, meanwhile, there are a lot of trained teachers sitting at home. This is too bad. And Ogloka says that the teacher has done very well for taking up the challenge to teach children. Also, he was able to accept correction with humility. I love the genuineness of this teacher. So people have been expressing their thoughts on this on social media and hoping that the school gets aid very, very soon.
All the attention on someone.
Also, our president has declared his assets today, and he's given the ministers up to 31st of March to also declare theirs. Otherwise, they'll be kicked out. So hopefully,
I think we should all start declaring our assets.
I thought you were going to declare.
Oh, my assets! I'm still waiting for the Rolls Royce. So.
But then we also have the DDP trending after yesterday. So he's been trending. He's been
paid before. Why?
I think people are talking about the fact that, you know, a bit of the interview talking about the fact that a close relative of a former president. So people are asking that he should mention the person's name. You know, when he mentions the person's name, then we can move forward.
Well, a lot of talk on social media. Let's get out of here. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Relationships. Lois and Jackie. Pastor Mensah Table has relationships episode 7. You need to stay for this. Have a